Like always, we have gathered the most interesting releases from the last couple of days. Yeah, with me, do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I'm Felix. I'm the CTO of Neolocus. I'm together here with Francesco, also part of Neolocus. We're in the Gaia Accelerator program based in Riyadh now. Yeah, we do mostly image generation, so I think we'll discuss some things regarding Dall-E, and yeah, I'd be happy to chime in.
Yeah, and from my
I'm a,
side,
I'm, yes,
oh,
sorry, go.
oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, so from my side, I can also make a little introduction. As Felix said, we work together. I am the CPO of Neolocus. Indeed, we do image generation. We place real world items into any environment. And yeah, excited to be here and see what we're gonna be discussing about.
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel. You guys, if you've seen previous stream, know me already, but yes, part of the new native team here.
Okay, so let's get started right now. The most interesting thing this week is basically the new Bard extensions. And what this is basically you can now connect Bard to all of your Google apps, which is super interesting because next to ChatGPT, we know that Bard is this super useful assistant, and it's even more useful right now. Maybe let's watch this video right here first, which explains what is new.
It's hard to make an idea come to life when the information you need is in different places. But now you can collaborate with the world's information and your own, all in one place with Bard. With extensions, Bard can now connect to Google's apps and even gives you the option to pull in your own information to make it all come together. Like when you're making a plan. Or when you're prepping for the big day. Or when you want to make sense of something. Bard can even help you make memories. Pull in the info you need just when you need it, so you can keep your ideas moving forward with Bard as your helpful collaborator. Try for yourself at bard.google.com.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool in my opinion. Let's have a closer look at what is actually happening here. So basically, Bard gets access to these different kinds of Google applications. So things like Google Maps, YouTube, flights, and I guess it's just hotels and things like this. So super cool. Also Docs, a Drive. And I think this is a very significant change for these kinds of chat assistants, because ChatGPT basically didn't have access to anything. You could get some access via plugins, but I guess this is the big change right here, that it can basically just look into your emails, search videos on YouTube, search for your documents, and then also suggest changes or get some information out of these different places. Yeah.
Yes. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I believe that such a change is interesting. First of all, as indeed Fabian was saying, ChatGPT so far was kind of closed in itself, and everybody thought that it was very cool because it was very nice, and you could get all the outputs and all the answers to your questions, really. But in the end, it was limited in the sense that indeed, when you want to go deeper and maybe watch a video about it, it had no way to actually scrape through them and actually give you the perfect URL. From what I'm seeing now, we have a centralized platform where you can actually pull data from various sources based on your account. Because now we were seeing something about emails, and it was my personal emails that the AI was accessing through and giving me the information about. Therefore, it's becoming more personalized way of using AI, and therefore I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
Like
also think
we've
it's
seen. Sorry, Felix, go.
yeah, cool, thanks. Yeah, what I think is super interesting is that often I use ChatGPT mostly for coding, and then I'm like, okay, how do I describe my problem to ChatGPT in the best way? And this doesn't have a code plugin yet, but like if you would do the same for things that you have in your Google Docs, you wouldn't need to think about how do I best give the context anymore. You just, I don't know, drop in the file. I'm not too sure how exactly it would be implemented or like it is implemented. I haven't used it yet, but it looks super helpful to just save you all the time of the prompt engineering that you would do of like giving all the context and that it would just have that automatically. I think this is a drastic change and it would actually make me switch from ChatGPT to Bart if it works like that.
Yeah, like I was going to say that yes, it's pretty like something that I guess it's not a new idea in the sense that we had things like LangChain, Gmail toolkit for its agents. So like this need has always been there because yes, like Francesco said, like ChatGPT is very cool, but at the end of the day, it's just a language model. And yes, it had plugins and some things, but it didn't seem to be like very, very like have a big impact in the way you use it. So yeah, well, I think Fabian, we've seen a lot of things from Google recently, and we always had this thing that we think that ultimately, like the user experience will tend to always turn to this chat interface. And we also saw the things that Google had, like the AI built in the search and something else, right? Do you remember that, right, Fabian? How was that? That it was the AI built within the search
Yeah,
engine,
yeah,
I
exactly.
think.
Into Google search basically, and yeah, it
Yeah,
just got the
yeah,
results and then
exactly.
generated a text response instead of just showing blue links.
So I think it's cool that it's not just like being like either we have the AI built within the apps, which they're also doing, and they're also like leaning towards this like common tendency of having this AI chat like interface with the I guess the language model with now all these functionalities, which is pretty cool indeed. I just wonder if probably there's like a subscription base or something like that. I would be very surprised if this is just like free.
Yeah, I'm sure they will move it in some kind of product, yeah, and then ship it out. Because I have actually tried to test this, and for me, it's still not available. They wrote that this is now available basically to everyone. Yeah, but I could not find this. Something that
Mhm.
they also rolled out in addition to this is actually this double check feature. So if you're not sure if the response is just hallucination, then you can actually click this button, and then you will get Google searches for this specific topic, you could say, just to double check on that information, because we all know that hallucinations are a big problem of large language models. And yeah, I guess this is just their move to counter this.
Yeah,
Nice.
this
This is
is pretty cool
actually a very
actually.
interesting feature that I wasn't expecting. Nice. Yeah. So indeed, as you said, ChatGPT or any large language model hallucinating is a big issue. That is a big issue for everyone, not only for startups that are building on top of it. It's also an issue for the end user that doesn't really know whether what he's seeing is correct or not. So this is, I don't know if it's the best way, but definitely nice that some people are going towards this direction of fixing such issues. And yeah, from what I'm seeing now, they're doing through Google searches to actually double check whether this is right or wrong. I don't know then what kind of algorithm they would do on top of that to actually double check those links. But interesting. This is definitely something that we need to move towards, and therefore I'm happy to see this feature actually.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be pretty cool to see something like this, but some open source project that you can just put on top of whatever language model you're using, because this is very useful, especially for like you said, like maybe startups that are building on top of models. And well, yes, you can't just like have a product that hallucinates whichever product it's you're building. So yeah, like this is actually pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yet overall, I think that this is super cool to see this integration with the entire Google ecosystem. I think there's nothing else that is comparable to this Google ecosystem on the internet right now. Maybe some Microsoft products, but I guess Google is just number one here. And then seeing these extensions slash integrations within this chat application is just super cool to see. All right, then let's jump over to our next topic. Now we're coming to the image generation things. So yes, Dall-E 3 was announced. They are planning to release it via ChatGPT and also planning to release it via their platform. Yeah, and I guess one of the biggest changes is just improved quality, and also something very exciting is the text generation
It can
feature.
spell.
Yes, I guess this is very, very exciting. Yeah, because by now I'm sure that most of people know that generating texts with these diffusion models basically did not work. Yeah, and now they seem to crack it, and now we can generate texts. Let's have a look at some more examples right here. We've talked about this in the last stream, that the quality of the second Dall-E, so Dall-E 2, was still not perfect, at least in comparison to Midjourney. In my opinion, Midjourney was still better than Dall-E 2. But yeah, this looks very remarkable right here.
Yeah, and also
Yeah,
I think yeah, sorry, Francesco, go please.
Yeah, no, just the thing that I wanted to say here is indeed we are doing image generation and we bumped into this issue of, capturing some images. At some point we had to do it. And as you said, now we're using some previous model called Clip that also OpenAI released a couple of years ago, and it's open source, so that's what we're using now. But indeed, it's lacking in the correct output. What I'm seeing here is a precise description of what's going on in the image, to the point that the characters are displayed and actually described perfectly in there. So the only thing I'm asking here is this model going to be open sourced at any point in time in the future? Because that would be great for us.
I don't think so
No,
far,
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I checked already. It's not. Um, yeah, but it looks great. Like you also said, one thing is that when DALL-E 2 came out, it absolutely shocked the image generation community. Like Midjourney already existed, but the Midjourney that was out then was nowhere close to what DALL-E brought actually. And they had a way better understanding of how to interpret the prompt and put it into the picture, which other image generators later catched up on. Like one thing I haven't really read up on DALL-E 3 as of yet, but now on a first research, I also see that they might not even be using diffusion models anymore. And they might have gone back to using GANs, generative adversarial networks. I'm just reading this on a Medium article. I'm not too sure whether this is correct, but this would be a very interesting evolution in the image generation field again, to result back to the older models, which are actually way faster. So I would love to try this out. Yeah, it's still in beta if I'm not mistaken, but I would like to see also how long it takes them to generate a picture, because this is a big issue in this field.
Yeah, that's true. We can also watch this 1-minute video of how we can actually interact with this Dall-E 3 model within ChatGPT. So yeah, let's have a quick look.
Okay, very cute. I think it's cool that it comes into the form of ChatGPT, but I'm also not too sure who the end user for that would be. It's like, do you just want to use it in that platform? To me, that doesn't really make sense. Like we're using Stable Diffusion, for example. They have all of these interfaces that allow you a lot of freedom, that allow you to edit images. Most of them are community built also, but yeah, it doesn't really make sense to use a text generator in combination, like it's cool. Some features are handy, and you also saw that it automatically generated some prompts, and that's how we got to the 4 original pictures, if I understood that correctly. Yeah, the 4 original pictures of Larry. Yeah, I think they are also building towards this all-in-one solution. As we can see now, they want to integrate everything into ChatGPT, but to me, this doesn't seem the most straightforward way to actually use an image generator through a text-based platform. Like, of course, it's text to image, but it would be nicer to also have more features such as edit image, in paint and out painting, for example, do an image to image. And I'm not too sure how they would integrate all of this into ChatGPT. So I think it's an interesting choice.
Also, just to add on top of this, indeed, we heard from OpenAI a couple of months back in time, as of now, that when GPT-4 got released, we would have had the input, the option to also input an image plus text. Therefore, putting an image, asking some questions about it, and therefore get an output based on the input image that you put in there. Is this a feature that is also available, that will be available within ChatGPT, as what we've seen now in the video itself, it's only going to text, from text to text or from text to images?
In their video that they released, like shortly after they released GPT-4, I think they showcased this in ChatGPT, this multimodal capabilities, and I guess this is still their plan to release, because in my opinion, I mean, this image understanding property would be awesome. But yeah, I'm not sure if like what their timeline on this looks like. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now clear. All right. Yeah. No. Interesting. I mean, it's interesting also how the ChatGPT itself will differentiate whether it needs to come up with some text or some images based on the prompt input that you give. But it's also cool. But indeed, I believe the extra step really will be made once we can also input images in the with together with the text box, and that will improve a lot what people can do with it. But yeah, definitely something nice and cooler for the future.
Yeah, and I can only agree that if you need some custom things, or yeah, if you really want to do things like in painting, out painting, then it would be good to have like a separate interface for this other than ChatGPT. Yeah, and I'm sure that they will also release this because they already have something like this in place for the Dall-E 2 model. So I guess they will just upgrade it to a new model, and then we will have hopefully the same features for in painting, out painting, things like this, and also things like variations generation.
I was thinking the same, that probably they will integrate it into ChatGPT, but they won't like take down the already existing Dall-E platform where you go and do these things, and maybe they'll add all of these functionalities. I don't know, like it would be a matter of looking at how are they doing things to see if you can actually do these things. But yeah, something I've noticed, for example, is in these diffusion models, something that was usually happening is that if you generate an image that had a lot of detail, then it became this type of images that the more you look, the weirder it gets. Because then there's just like very weird things in the background that just don't make sense. That at first glance looks normal, but then you have like super random things, and like it becomes like funny to a point. But at least you show this image of the girl and the guy like in the night, in the city, something like that, and it seemed pretty well detailed because I was looking at that. So yeah, like that's interesting. Also, I don't know if you can scroll down after that. Yeah, like this
one.
Like there's nothing very weird going on behind as to what would happen before that. You have like food that doesn't make sense, people doing like very weird stuff.
Their hands look fine.
So
that
I was going to
promising.
say that, yeah. If you can scroll down, there's a picture of a guy in a boat. Yes, there, and he's holding the. Yes, see, like that's also something I want to check out. The hands, they seem to have to like figure out a way to do proper hands, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, but these examples here look very promising. I guess one of the main features is just that they basically can add text to these generations. Yeah, so I'm very hyped for this release in October, I think they wrote somewhere. So yeah.
Also, just to add here, I was just thinking about this now, indeed, but most of the people actually, I mean, everyone throughout the world knows ChatGPT, whereas maybe not actually everyone uses Dall-E proactively. So actually putting this image feature also in ChatGPT itself will instruct people that there is more to it, to the AI field whatsoever, to the Gen AI field, and therefore maybe those people will be the ones also interacting more with standalone image generation tools such as DALL-E 3 by itself. That's also actually cool, so that the community can get an understanding that there's more than actually just prompting and getting an output. So that's also nice.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, so maybe let's jump over to our next topic. So this is research released from Google Research. And basically what this does is you can input a still picture and then get back this seamless looping video or this interactive video. And I'm not sure about the actual use cases for this. Maybe some desktop background animations, things like this. There's also this interactive demo right here, which is super cool. So we have this flower. We can just select one point and then basically drag it in any direction. We can also select this different one. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure about the use cases, but I think this is still pretty cool to see. Can also do it right here. Yeah.
This is extremely interesting. Also, the way the items bounce back. I would be curious to understand a bit more on their tech stack and what's behind all of this.
Yeah, this looks very cool because it seems like they're segmenting the image and getting the different parts that are connected to each other, and then they make them move together. So I want to call I
Yeah,
don't
I
know what
agree.
what this would be called. It's some kind of segmentation and vectorization, and then it calculates like the physical effects. And um, I think this will have a lot of implications. Like the use case here is very unclear, but from this, then they can figure out which parts move together and what gets influenced on what based on only a picture. So I think that's a very interesting breakthrough, actually.
Also, I have a question here. Can you only move the biggest item that you find, or can you just move everything in the picture?
Yes, you can basically.
So, for
you can
instance,
also move this second flower right here.
okay,
So yeah.
okay,
But it's very
all right,
interesting that
okay.
they understand, or that this model now understands the physics of this basic image. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Can you
So
pull the leaf also?
um,
The
not
green leaf of the red rose. Yeah, the green leaf. Yeah.
a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Interesting. It's cool.
Yeah, this seems pretty basic, but there has to be a lot of things going on here.
Yeah.
Like, also,
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
pull the rose again? Like, I noted something like pull it to one side and like pull it. Let it go. For some reason, like the rose in the background bounced to the opposite side,
That's true.
Yeah.
which
You're
I
right.
like. Yeah, like there's a lot of things going on here, I guess. Yeah, it would be pretty interesting to kind of take a look at how things are happening.
Yeah.
Like, how does it
I
identify
wonder what
which
they trained this
objects should
on,
move?
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe these are examples that are cherry picked and work really well. So yeah, if you actually want to check this out, there doesn't seem to be any code ready to go, but we have this paper. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
You will also find all of these links on our LabLab Discord and in the stream description. So yeah, make sure to check this out. For now, let's go over to our next topic, which is this new OpenAI fine-tuning UI. You can basically see what your fine-tuning job statuses is. So you have things like successful completed jobs, failed jobs, and all jobs. Yeah, maybe this moves a little bit more light on this fine-tuning feature, especially since they released their GPT 3.5 Turbo fine-tuning just a couple of weeks ago, I think. So yeah, cool to see some new features on this playground or platform. Yeah, next to the playground right here.
Yeah. Did anyone use that fine tuning already?
I used it for GPT-3, but not for the GPT 3.5. So yeah.
What is the input that you need to give? I was just wondering. Because somebody told me that was also maybe for GPT-3 or 2, maybe. They would just give like 100 questions and answers
Yeah, you need
as
to
input, and
prepare
then it would
like
then fine
a,
tune over
a very specific format
Mhm.
with like some sort of completion, and then give like lots of examples, and no, it's not a JSON type object, but something very similar. And
Yep.
yeah, say it like that.
Mhm.
But how can you
Okay,
make
yeah, that
sure
makes
that you're
sense.
not overfitting wildly over the input data that you give it?
With this, you actually
Yeah,
don't have a lot of control, but yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's more as to like give it information that it probably didn't have and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like for example, if you're gonna use it for, let's say you want to use it to answer a very specific like set of questions, like you're targeting a very specific branch, and then maybe the overall training of GPT doesn't cover those areas, so you just give it like that extra information. I guess
Mhm.
that's the main way to use this because indeed you don't have a lot of control over what goes on here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. And that makes
And
sense. What do they give you in return? Do they give you a new environment that
They give
this
you
model is hosted on with
a
fine
new
tuning, or they
endpoint,
give you?
let's say.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
call a different endpoint that is your specific fine-tuned model.
Okay. So I'm thinking now they're not going to host a whole new. I'm thinking about how they fine tune now, because it's a big
Yeah.
question also. Which generation? How do you save the output? How big is it? Because you can't for every fine tuned model host their own whole ChatGPT. That would be insane. So that's cool actually.
I also have an input privacy wise. So let's say that you're a company, right? And you have a lot of internal data that needs to be kept safe. But still, you want to fine tune this ChatGPT version on your own data because indeed you want to scrape internal data in a way that ChatGPT will be able to answer on that data itself. But from what I'm hearing now is everything is under the hood. So we just give it to OpenAI, then they just give you back a new endpoint. How does it go with data privacy? So would a bank, for instance, that has all of this encrypted data be comfortable with giving this away to ChatGPT to fine tune it to a point where they can get back an endpoint? Have they thought about that?
I guess
So,
the easy answer to that is that they wouldn't do it.
mhm.
So because of what exactly you mentioned, like it's not very like thought to like be something that it's meant to keep like sensitive information. So yeah, like they don't. As far as I know, they don't have anything covering those bases at least. So yeah,
Mhm.
people like that would have this type of use case. I guess they just if they do this, they had to end up with something that they can host themselves or something with a big coverage and when it comes to sensitive data.
Mhm, mhm. And something that was also released with this is actually that like previously, you could only have one concurrent fine-tuning job, and now you can have up to
Mhm.
3. So maybe if you have some things, basically some user input that you are taking and then creating your own fine-tuned model, that's possible now. So yeah, that's also very cool to see. And I guess regarding data privacy, I think OpenAI has said a couple of times that they don't take any API data as new training data. Yeah, and
Mhm.
I hope that they are basically not doing anything else. But yeah, all
All right,
right.
now clear.
Then let's jump over to our last thing for today. We have a lot of OpenAI related things today for some reason. But yeah, basically, OpenAI is calling experts from different kinds of fields to red team their new models. So yeah, if you are actually an expert in one of these fields right here, you can apply for this red teaming program. You will also get paid to do this. And they state that this can be as little as 5 to 10 hours per year. So this is very interesting. So yeah, if you want access to new models, which could be very, very interesting, yeah, make sure to apply for this, and maybe you're lucky and you will get invited to OpenAI's red teaming um, yep, efforts.
Cool. It's really nice that they're actually looking for experts across all fields. There's a lot of fields in there that I didn't even know what it would mean. So
Yeah.
it's nice that they actually get some industry experts involved.
How are you an expert in misinformation? I'm curious about that.
I'm sure there's a lot of research going on in this field, especially
Yeah.
with social media, yeah, things like this.
Uh, Pretty interesting. I would never thought of something like that actually, but yeah, makes total sense actually.
Interesting. And also, what would they do with these experts? Like, okay, so do they just want to check data quality and therefore double check that the inputs they're giving to the models are fair based on the experts, or do they want to apply filters on top of the current models based on experts saying, okay, this output is just hallucination, or what's the way going forward with this information that they will get from the expert themselves?
I think that depends. For example, let's take these law persons right here. I guess they can just, for example, comment on the quality of generated law texts or like law-related content. But I guess it really depends on the kind of job here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
not
guess
fair.
it's
I mean,
just some sort of validation.
yeah.
I mean, some of
I mean, it's
these
nice to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say it's nice that indeed we thought that ChatGPT or large language models could just take care of everything, but that just isn't the case. As we see here, we have some fields where things need to be tweaked, and it's nice to put the humans in the loop with the expert knowledge. I believe this is the right direction, anyhow.
Yeah, for sure.
What's really interesting is that there's no like things like in here. There's nothing that says like math or statistics or stuff like that, because we all know language models lack heavily in that aspect because they are language models indeed. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see this.
Okay, so I guess that's it for today. So yeah, if you are still watching and you're interested in these kinds of technologies, make sure to check out LabLab AI and our upcoming events. We just reached 70,000 makers today, so that's a huge milestone. Yeah, and we have this upcoming hackathon with Cohere. We have our Falcon large language model family hackathon coming up, and also the AutoGPT Arena hack. So yes, if you're interested, make sure to enroll, learn a lot new stuff, meet people, and yeah, build really awesome projects. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you all here for being here and commenting on these new technologies.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you
Thank
for
you very
this.
much.
All right, yeah, and I will see you next Tuesday for our new in AI stream. So yeah, thank you for watching and bye bye.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye.